Hey, this is Notser, and this is the Tier 8 German battleship Tirpitz. It has 8 main guns, 28 secondary guns, 72 AA guns, 8 torpedoes, a top speed of 30.9 knots, total health 69,300 for my modules, reduced crit chance on main battery, increased AA range, reduced flood and fire chance, faster rudder shift, and for my commander, basic survivability, basic firing training, faster turret traverse, and a lower cooldown on damage control. We are on the map Hotspot, and right off the bat, I want everyone to understand I'm firing HE in the previous video because my primary enemy is a bunch of Tirpitz. It really is ideal to use AP against cruisers and battleships that are not the Tirpitz. The Tirpitz's unique armor layout makes it almost invulnerable to citadel penetrations at close to medium range, and whenever you can't get a citadel penetration, burn them down to the ground. We see an enemy Colorado moving towards sea. Clearly, he's a US battleship. He can't keep up with his team, and we're picking on him. We have AP loaded. We're trying to get a citadel penetration, but he has now angled his ship. We're going to be less effective at getting that citadel penetration. We can still harass the Colorado, though, and that's exactly what we're going to try and do. Now, the quick reload is fantastic, but you need to make sure that you can use that reload whenever it's up. You're wasting precious seconds, DPS, if you don't have a target in mind. A lot of the enemy is around sea, a lot of harsh angling, or they're moving away. It's not an ideal AP shot. I do have a candidate, that enemy Pensacola. He looks like he is an ideal broadside penetration. I'm going to do one shot at this Tirpitz, because he's the lowest health target. If I can help my team kill him, it's one less threat on the map. Interestingly, the aircraft carrier is trying to escape near the Colorado. And that enemy cruiser that I was talking about earlier, I can see him out the corner of my eye. And he's going to be... We just confirmed, yeah, we don't want to take the kill from someone, we want to help them get the kill. Mayoko is going to have the island in the way. Here is this Pensacola. Broadside, we need to make sure we lead him, 11 kilometers. And that's exactly what we try and do. And minimal damage. Maybe we misaimed, but we still have the chance to keep up with them. We're so fast, we can actually make sure the ship stays within contact range and not hide behind the island like so many other ships do to other battleships. So we lead the target. Yes, we're aiming basically at the island, but we're able to get our shot over the island barely. We get a citadel penetration, we take out the enemy Pensacola. We get a friendly Atlanta on our port side, firing on that enemy Colorado. Whenever an Atlanta is in range and firing on your battleship, you feel so vulnerable. The amount of damage output the Atlanta can perform on a slow battleship is extreme. We see the enemy aircraft carrier, and we don't lead him as much as we should have. The high-tier Japanese carriers are really fast. I always seem to underestimate the speed they have, so I didn't lead the target as well as I needed to. We want to try and kill this guy, obviously. It's a big prize to take out the enemy aircraft carrier, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We have AP loaded near the waterline. It's not quite as important because of the way the ship is designed. There's a whole lot of hull that you can penetrate and get into the vital organs of a carrier, and they fall short. We did not lead him correctly. He is moving away and increasing the distance ever so slightly, so we need to aim slightly above where we believe the water line is in order to get the right penetration. We try and do a shot with the island in the way. Looks like we're going to be able to clear the island safely. The velocity on these rounds are pretty nice. We get a citadel penetration, 12,000 points of damage, and we have a friendly aircraft carrier using his torpedoes on the enemy. And you can just see how easy it is for him to avoid torpedoes. He's just moving so fast. Only 2 make contact. We use our scout plane to look over the island to try and finish off the enemy ship. We might not be able to clear the island. Gotta confirm. Yep, we're not able to clear the peak of the island, so the enemy is basically immune to our damage. We just need to try and catch up to him. Now, the Tirpitz is fantastic for doing this. one of the fastest battleships. Friendly takes out the enemy aircraft carrier, one of the fastest battleships, and the armor is extreme. This is the perfect battleship to learn how to play the game, I think, because it's the most forgiving armor-wise. Now, you're going to go up against a lot of difficult targets up here, but if the German battleship line is exceptionally tankier than the other two lines, it might be a line to go down if you're interested in picking up the battleship line, but you're having a hard time angling your ship or keeping up with the front. We'll just have to see how it plays out, but if the Tirpitz represents some ideals that the Germans hold as valuable, it could be a very interesting line. We see the enemy Mayoko, we fire on his position, we incapacitate one of his guns. I believe we completely destroy one of his guns. If you see the turret with a great big red X, that means it's been completely destroyed versus a normal X, which just means 20 seconds out of commission. And the Atlanta is going off on the Mayoko. Unfortunately, the Atlanta is barely alive. We're just trying to help kill any enemy that we can see. Enemy destroyer is moving in at sea, so we're going to, of course, fire on his position. He's going to fire on the friendly Cleveland that's barely alive. Stay alive, buddy! And we lead the target for the half second it's visible. You want to try and make sure you fire on a target whenever it is selected, because that increases your accuracy to that target. Oh no, he ran aground! We waterline shot. He's so dead. And the dispersion is perfect. We take him out. Unfortunately, we lose the Atlanta, we lose the Cleveland, and now this 3v2 is a 2v1 in their favor. We, of course, are going to take out the lower health target, which is the Mayoko, AP loaded. He's going to show his broadside. We only have the front two guns available. In the current position we are in, we fire at what we believe is the waterline, but he adjusts his heading, and we miss completely. We're set on fire. It's only one fire, though. We take AP rounds from the enemy Tirpitz. We're going to let this fire burn unless there's another fire that happens. Mayoko fires on our position. Second fire. Okay, instantly use damage control. We'll be immune to the next salvo, but after that, we won't be able to reduce the fire damage that he's going to output. He turns the front of a ship, and we get a great penetration. He's barely alive. We adjust our heading and speed so we don't run into the island. We just confirm that we're going to be okay. And now our back guns are available to finish off the Mayoko. He still is showing a large part of his ship. This should be an easy kill. We only need one round to make contact. Again, AP shots, waterline shot. He's moving away slightly, and we take him out. Didn't even need a citadel penetration. Okay, now we have the Tirpitz. Now, the enemy Tirpitz is a much different animal. We send out our torpedoes in a widespread. We switch to HE. Why do we switch to HE, Notser? Because AP is not as effective against the Tirpitz in close to medium range. It is vulnerable to plunging fire. Plunging fire only occurs near the extreme range of most guns. If it were to arc and not go straight down, it would bounce off the top of the deck because it's angled to be flat with the deck, the armor belt. So you really need to have that maximum plunge in order to use AP. Otherwise, I stick with HE. And we set him on fire before he went around the island. Our torpedoes are unsuccessful, but we have the advantage here. We can always make use of our torpedoes. He cannot. He should understand that and recognize that perhaps not chasing after me is a more strategically sound decision. I'm going to get a little lazy here. I figure I'm going to get a first strike potential, but I don't have good angling on my ship. Anyone who's watching, you understand what I'm talking about. I'm showing my side far too much. I'm way too broad. It's not a harsh enough angle, and he makes me pay. He didn't get a citadel penetration, but he did a ton of AP damage. Nearly maximum damage. So we recognize our mistake. We make a harsher angle. We send out our next torpedo, widespread again. If he's going to take a torpedo, it's bonus damage. If not, it's going to force him to sail in a defensive manner. And he shoots on out of position. We angle our ship. Much better angling. Barely any damage compared to the last one. 3 fires on his ship. It's going to do a ton of damage. 750 damage a second. Look at the kind of health he's losing. And of course, he fits his giant battleship right in between my torpedoes. So the torpedoes are ineffective. He fires again. Again, we make sure we have a harsh angle. He doesn't even land on our ship this time. He uses damage control to put out the 3 fires. I don't blame him. That's a ton of damage. And we pull back to make sure that all our guns can fire on his position. He's going to fire again. We set him on fire. Unfortunately, he's still immune with damage control. The next salvo right here should stick. He's continuing to fire. We're continuing to maintain a harsh angle. We set him on fire. We incapacitate a target. And you can see we're catching up on health because of the angling that we've chosen. He has chosen to use AP. We are using HE. And that's only because we're firing on a Tirpitz. It's not because the Tirpitz is better at using HE, it's because of the target we're actually engaging. We send out our torpedoes again, widespread. We're going to have a heal available too. If we can light him up again, we'll have more damage to the target. Somehow, we don't do any damage, even though 4 made contact. Probably hit the base of the hull, and the explosion couldn't cascade over the top. He's avoiding my torpedoes again. We're firing at the nose. Look at that terrible dispersion. Ugh. But that was only 1 gun. That wasn't 3. Here is all the rest of the turrets. And this is an easy shot. And he's just melting. Our health has stabilized. In fact, we've added health. This is really textbook Tirpitz 101, in my opinion. How you should fight as a Tirpitz and how you should fight against a Tirpitz. He put out the fire, or perhaps his crew put out the fire, but instantly we set him back up. And I believe that was a damage control to put out the fire, because this fire didn't stick. You notice it made contact, it showed the ribbon, but there was nothing visible on the ship. So he's going to be immune to this salvo, but the next one will definitely stick if we get a fire. And actually, it's interesting. We might have just snuck in to get that fire set. He uses his heal. He gained like 5,000 hit points. That is one bad part of fire. It's a low damage source, so if they have heals available, they'll be able to heal almost 75% of that damage. Versus if you get a really devastating AP shot, minimal heal capability. We take out the enemy Tirpitz. We haven't taken any damage. Other than that first critical AP mistake, we minimized the damage and we actually healed more than he output. So, just an enemy aircraft carrier. I'm nowhere near it. Game's over for me. It's just ticking down. I hope you enjoyed seeing how the Tirpitz works against more conventional targets, not just all Tirpitz. Every day that goes by, there's less and less Tirpitz only games I'm seeing, and it's more enjoyable. We got 4 enemy kills, 2 Citadel penetrations, Arsonist, 11 fires set, 2,051 base XP, around 125,000 points of damage. Tirpitz, I'm enjoying this ship. I like the speed and the tankiness. I hope you have a great day, and I'll catch you next time.